Joining me now is Premier State Consultant, former Liberal MP Fiona Scott, and former Labor Minister, our regular Stephen Conroy. Stephen, what have you made of what has been a chaotic week at Parliament?
Look, I always thought this was going to be a bad week for the PM and the Liberal Party in terms of its inability to manage the Parliament, but it really did reach new depths. I mean, this is a bill that has been 3 years in the making. It's an election promise, and they are so incompetent and can't manage their own party that they've had to withdraw the bill. It's just stunning. I mean, put that on the back of the ICAC bill, which they promised to do 3 years ago, and they're so scared of their own team that they won't put that on the floor of Parliament either. I mean, this is a Prime Minister whose time is up.
Fiona, what's your take on it? Because Stuart Robert trying his best to work around what is, you know, if we look at it in basic terms, 5 MPs crossed the floor in the early hours of this morning. It hasn't happened since 1982. John Spender was one of those. Now the bill's shelved. It's not pretty.
Oh, look, it's messy. Stephen's right. It is messy, and you're right. 1982, John Spender. It's a long time ago this has happened. But bringing up that John Spender analogy is also really important, Kieran, because in all 5 seats, these are 5 coalition MPs, that this will play very well for Dave Sharma. The people of Wentworth don't need to go and vote for Allegra Spender for a MP that will stand up to the Prime Minister. They have it in Dave Sharma. Likewise, it'll play well for Trent Zimmerman in North Sydney. It'll play well for Katie Allen in Higgins. It'll play well for Bridget Archer and, of course, with Fiona Martin. So, look, I think this is one of those things that it looks messy. It looks terrible from the outside. But as we get into an election, we start talking seat by seat. Now, for Scott Morrison and some places of the Conservative sides of the Parliament, as well as the National Party, then the Prime Minister has brought it on. But what's happened? Well, here's the big threat. Oh, you'll leave it to the left and you'll get all these things through in a very different way. So I think there's many ways that you can cut this up as to which perspective you want to look at it. And, you know,
Sure.
Where is the line of spin? I think the interesting aspect, if this was so messy and the Labor Party thought they had such a great score here, why did they not bring it up in question time? And I think it goes to show a vulnerability.
Yeah, well, I guess that's they would say it's the government's bill. But Stephen, Fiona makes a good point there in terms of Sharma and co. He needed to make a stand on this, but I guess he was put in the position to need to do that by the government's own legislative agenda, Stephen.
Exactly. I mean, that was fantastic, Fiona. I mean, that is putting lipstick on the pig. I mean, yes, a bunch of moderate Liberals who are under challenge in their own seat in safe Liberal seats, and ignore the fact that the Prime Minister's promise, one of his flag policy commitments, has just crashed and burned because he can't actually do the hard work. He's had 3 years to work this issue through with people who want out of goodwill. I mean, Stephen Jones this week has just been incredible. I mean, what a great job he's done in highlighting the complexity. But we shouldn't be sitting here with, 10 days of parliamentary sittings at best left after 3 years. The Prime Minister doesn't have the wit, the wisdom or the guile to be able to have put this into a process where we could have got a unanimous supported position, or as close to unanimous across the parties as you could get. I mean, that's why the incompetence of this week is just breathtaking.
But Stephen, how do you think this will then play out in the actual election? But Stephen, I mean, we go back to the point of how this will play when we get to seat by seat, and I actually only see that the 5 people that have crossed the floor here, that they are going to be strengthened in their own electorates. I do also see that Scott Morrison has tabled. I mean, you might say put lipstick on the pig. I'm not the one that put lipstick on that pig, but the point is that the way the tactics around all of this, whether it's the organisation of chaos or not, but there is an element here of how this pig can have its makeup done that could be really very advantageous to the Liberal Party and expose the underbelly of the Labor Labor Party, where in the same-sex marriage vote, a lot of these Labor seats actually had some of the lowest support for marriage equality quite a few years ago.
Fiona.
Yeah, no, look, they're all
Stephen,
very valid points. Sorry.
Stephen, just quickly, only 20 seconds, and we've got to go.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, the voice candidates are driven primarily by climate issues where the government has failed, by the ICAC issue, which again the government has failed. This is just an attempt to plug, a finger in the dike on one issue. This won't save those Liberal candidates in those seats, this one issue.
Stephen, Fiona, great to chat. See you soon.